All right, listen up. Applications are now open for students interested in receiving a scholarship to study computer science at a college of their choice. It's all a part of a program intended to inspire students, especially those from an undeserved community, to try computer science out. Here's William Yarborough with the explanation.
Computer science is the fastest growing profession within the science, technology, engineering, and math field. Only 8% of STEM graduates earn a computer science degree, with only a small percentage from underserved backgrounds. Amazon spokesperson Jacqueline Olagus explains how her company hopes to bridge the gap for future engineers.
We have 100 scholarship recipients each year, and what those recipients get is a two-part program, which is unique to Amazon. So we have a financial support piece like any scholarship, but it's $10,000 a year for 4 years, so $40,000 total for the student. And then they also get a guaranteed paid internship at Amazon after their first year of college. So not only are they getting that financial support throughout their college years, but then they also get to come to Amazon and really get that hands-on working and learning experience with some of the industry's best technical managers and mentors.
Today, Amazon's Future Engineer program is in more than 2,000 high schools across the U.S., impacting more than 100,000 students.
Nearly 130 of those schools are in Florida. And what this means for those schools that take part, like Hateville Charter, is that they receive funding from Amazon to be able to provide introductory and advanced placement computer science courses for their students. And we really focus on schools who wouldn't otherwise be able to provide these opportunities to their very deserving students.
Candace Bethay is a charter school principal who has seen the program at work and the excitement that comes along with it.
We began the program last January. We were able to get a cohort of students in who received their Intro to Computer Science credit in May. Some of those were seniors, so they graduated. Some continued to AP Computer Science, and so they're really thriving in the course. We have students who have benefited from the online platform and working independently, and they're really being successful throughout AP Computer Science.
To learn more about the program and scholarship opportunities, visit AmazonFutureEngineer.com.